What is up, fellow nerds, and welcome back to the Dapper Snapper Gaming channel, and welcome back to How Do I Want to Do This? This is our series where we take a look at all playable options available to players in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10. Now today we are going to a very unique Barbarian subclass, and it is the Wild Magic subclass. So if you're excited to add some magic to your Barbarian, where normally you wouldn't be able to, go ahead and leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. As you can see, most people who watch this channel are actually not subscribed, and so please don't be one of those people. Help me out, help the channel to grow. It is always wonderful seeing new people down in the comments, and of course, hit me up in the comments down below. Today's question of the day: what is your favorite first level spell? I think I've made it pretty obvious that mine is Shield, but I'd love to know yours. So the Wild Magic Barbarian, introduced in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, brings a new way to play the Barbarian. Normally there is the restriction for no magic if you are raging, no concentrating or casting any spells. The Wild Magic seems to give you a way to kind of have some spell-ish effects happen during your rage, and they can have some pretty interesting impacts. So let's go ahead and see what we have in this package. So at 3rd level, we get Magic Awareness, and this is actually a pretty cool ability, to be honest. It's basically allowing us to cast Detect Magic, but with a larger range and a shorter time that you can have it going on at once. So it's a 60-foot radius and a 1 round duration, and you can do a proficiency bonus times per day. So it's interesting, right, that you can be like, okay, there's probably something within 60 feet of me, and just blip and see where everything is just right that quickly. I think that's pretty cool, honestly. Yes, it is nice with Detect Magic to be able to have a little bit longer to walk around with a smaller radius, but this is definitely far from useless. I would say that this is actually quite useful. I really like Detect Magic. I think it's pretty useful. I think it's underutilized sometimes, but I think it's really, really cool. This is going to be an 8 out of 10 for me. I think this is a really, really cool ability. Really interesting that you can use this. And ultimately what this does is it frees up your wizard from having to plop down for 10 minutes. It saves your cleric from having to use a spell slot on Detect Magic. You just kind of do it, and I really think that that's really, really cool. I think it's wildly useful, and it saves spell slots on your fellow spellcasters, and so they are going to be very happy that you are doing that for them as well. Also at 3rd level, we get the ability Wild Surge, and so now is where things get a little confusing, seeing how there is a subclass also named Wild Magic for the sorcerer, and its main feature is also named Wild Magic Surge. So not to be confused, but they are named the exact same thing, which is a little odd. But anyway, they do somewhat similar things, just the Barbarian is much more limited. So instead of 100 options that you have to look at, you have 8 here with the Barbarian, and it's pretty cool. There are definitely some standouts here. So, you know, teleporting 30 feet is really good. Changing your weapon's damage type to force is really nice. Vines around you to create difficult terrain. Things like that are all pretty good, especially at low level. As you level up, they don't really scale as far as the damage goes. So the damage itself is going to be pretty negligible, at least if it's caused by this effect. The secondary effects, though, are pretty good. Overall, there's quite a bit of staying power there, and so I think it's pretty cool. There is a big problem, though, with the randomness of this. All of them are good, just not all are good in certain situations, and you may want one over another one, and you don't really get control over this, which the whole point of it is the wild magic, right? It's supposed to be random, but you don't really get control of this until 14th level, and even then you have a 2 and 8 shot of getting what you want, or if you roll 2 of the same thing, then you can just pick what you want. So I think that the randomness here isn't all that great. Just because what if you pull the wrong one, and if you're looking at for one of them, then 7 out of 8 times you're gonna miss and you're gonna get the wrong thing, and it may not be super helpful to you. For that reason, I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10. I think everything here is good. Nothing here takes away from the character, but ultimately you can't control which one you get, and so you're going to be useful sometimes and you're going to be useless other times. And maybe not useless, maybe useless is the wrong word, but at least much less useful than if you took something else. And so I think that you're foregoing some more powerful options by using this ability here. At 6th level, we get Bolstering Magic, and this is actually a really cool ability, actually. So as an action, we can touch another creature, and this does include ourselves, and we can give one of 2 benefits. For 10 minutes, the one creature could add a D3 to all attack rolls and ability checks, not saving throws, keep that in mind. Or that creature recovers a spell slot less than or equal to a number rolled on a D3. This is pretty cool. So basically we have Bless Light without using spell slots, but we can use it proficiency bonus times per day. That's pretty cool. I do have to say that's pretty good. No saving throws. I think I'm okay with it though. I think I'm fine with that though. I wish that it did also apply to saving throws. Maybe that's something to ask your DM if he or she will house rule that for you. But I do think that that's still pretty nice. And then I mean, think of your warlock and all of your guys who really want their spell slots back, and you can just give them back their spell slots. That's kind of great, honestly. Yeah, it's really hard to deny how good this can be. I think that's an 8 out of 10. Just the only thing is that it is a 3 rather than a D4. That does hold it back a little bit, but you can't deny how this could be pivotal in certain situations. And this could definitely change the tide in certain situations. So yeah, this is definitely 8 out of 10. Very useful, really cool. At 10th level, we get Unstable Backlash. And so what this does every time that we get hit, at least take damage or fail a saving throw, we can actually use our reaction to produce an effect on the wild magic table. This is interesting because it also then replaces the one that we did have before. So this is a great way to cycle through all of them to hopefully get to the one that you want, because it is manual. It's not just you get hit and then it switches. It is something that you initiate the switch. So this is pretty useful and allows you to very easily change it on the fly. So maybe for the first half you needed the teleportation, and maybe the second half now you really just want to go and just use force damage because that's just better for whatever reason. Yeah, I think that this is incredibly useful, and so you can just cycle through and get whatever you want, at least much more quickly. So I think this is really cool. 8 out of 10, great way to give you much easier access to all of these crucial abilities that you want. I think it's absolutely awesome. Finally, level 14, we get Controlled Surge, and so we finally get to have a little bit more control over what we are doing with our surges. So here, basically, when we go to roll on the table, we can now roll twice, and we can choose which one that we want, or if we roll doubles, we can actually just pick any of them. We ignore the rolls and pick anything we want. This is a 9 out of 10. This is incredibly helpful for allowing you to pick what you want. It does come online very late. And even with just the 8 options, it still is really late to be finally getting to choose something that you want, or at least have a better shot at getting what you want. So yeah, I think that this ability on its own is absolutely fantastic, but it is a little too late as far as for the overall package. So yeah, it would be a 10 if we could just straight up choose at this point and forego the roll. Obviously, D&D is a dice game, and so dice are involved. Randomness is involved, especially when we talk about wild magic. So I understand, but yeah, ultimately 9 out of 10 for this. It's really late to be getting it though. So overall, what do we give this thing? I'm between a 7 and an 8, to be honest. This is a tough one to call. I don't know if I think that it is as good as the Ancestral Guardian. I really think the Ancestral Guardian and the Beast have an edge over this one, just in their abilities to, for the Ancestral Guardian, it is to protect everyone else. And the Beast, just, you can tack on a bunch of damage, or you can boost your own AC with your tail, or many things like that. But at a 7, I also have the Storm Herald, which the Storm Herald, I don't know if it is as good as this. I do think that this is wildly useful, but I don't think it's as good as that. So here's what we are going to do. We are going to retcon one of our previous videos, which is something I really was hoping not to do. But when I originally wrote all of the scripts, I thought that I had a better handle on what was going where, but we're just gonna do it anyway, because, you know, we can. So this is going to be a 7 out of 10, and we're gonna bump Storm Herald down to a 6 out of 10. I think that this is better than Storm Herald, but I don't think it's quite as good as Ancestral Guardian or Beast. I think it falls right there in the middle. It's not quite as good. It's not going to be anywhere near as good as Totem Warrior, which we talked about last week. But it's good. It's really good. We have a lot of unpredictability, so it's really hard for your DM to be able to craft things to counter what you're doing, because even you don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to have to kind of adapt your play style depending on what you get, and that's going to be on the fly, at least for most of your career. So it's going to take a very creative player, someone who can come up with these plans on the fly and really find unique and creative ways to use all of these. But I think for that player, you're going to find this incredibly rewarding to use, and a lot of fun. And just finding ways when you get maybe something that you didn't want, finding ways to make it work anyway. I think those are going to be the most satisfying moments with this subclass. So I think it is good. I don't think it's a bad subclass at all. I just think it's a little bit niche, and very unpredictable, and not quite in the best ways. So yeah, 7 out of 10 I think is more than fair given where we've ranked everything else. So yeah, 7 out of 10. So that has been our ranking on the Wild Magic Barbarian. So it still ranks high enough to deserve a build, and we will of course be doing that on Friday. So make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss that, and leave a like if you haven't already. Next week, we're doing the Zealot, and that is the last Barbarian subclass. It is crazy to think that we are almost done with the Barbarians, and we move on to Bards after that, where everything just gets crazy because Bards. So we'll see how that goes. So again, more reasons to subscribe so you don't miss any of that. So until next time, I hope you have a great day, a great week. Hope you stay safe out there, and of course, stay healthy. I know it's crazy out there, but stay healthy. Do your best. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.